Hey guys, it's Joe here, the Joe Madden Sports Podcast. I am joined today by Melissa Cunningham. Melissa and I are going to be talking some game four tonight. Melissa, I can't wait to hear your thoughts on this. How's your day
Yeah,
first?
so exciting. Day's been going well. We got a nice yesterday break with no hockey, and now we're back in action tonight for game four. And we'll see how the Avalanche respond against that pretty dominant performance by Tampa in game three.
Absolutely. Now, I'm pretty sure you were on Tampa for the last game, weren't you?
No, I actually was on the Avalanche, so I
Okay.
was on the wrong side. I said to myself that I felt like in Tampa that the series would split. Either Avalanche will get 1-1, or Tampa will get it. And I said, I think Tampa's going to get game four when they're kind of down 3-0.
Yeah.
So I played it a little differently. Now I'm leaning towards the Avalanche if my theory is correct. But the Avalanche are really going to have to step it up from goaltending standpoint. I think that's kind of ultimately what did kill them in that last game is Vasilevsky was the way better goaltender than Kemper was.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really hard for Colorado because we keep saying this about Kemper. At the end of the day, Kemper is still an outstanding goalie. He's just not at the same level as Vasilevsky.
Right. And Kemper's the type of goalie is when he's on, he is on and he is really performing. But when he has one bad game, it's very hard for him to snap out of those bad games
Yeah.
and get back to being normal. So I'm curious to see how he goes tonight. If he puts up a sluggish performance, we might be getting a goaltender battle for game five here too.
Absolutely. So we did see Kemper leave the ice in the last game. Franco's come out for him. Do you think Kemper is the right choice to start this game, or do you think Francois deserves the opportunity after what we've seen out of him?
I think you got to go with Darcy one more time. If there's a situation where he does get pulled here, then I think Francouz will be the goaltender starting in Denver for Game Five. I think he did have an injury, so maybe he's still battling that. But the thing with the Avalanche is they're a team that scores so many goals that they don't really need to be strong in the net. Kemper can get away with just playing a good game. Whereas on the other side, Vasilevsky, he's got to play phenomenal every single game because
Yeah.
Tampa is more a team that maybe puts up 2 or 3 goals and they'll win the game because they're playing more of a defensive matchup, and they're relying on Vasilevsky. Whereas Colorado, they can let in 3 or 4 and still manage to win the game 6-4 because they're just such a high offensive team as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen some really interesting trends so far in this series between only the three games. We've seen high scoring first periods. We've seen two of the third periods be scoreless. Are you looking at any of these trends to continue for this game?
Yeah, I actually really like the over tonight. It's actually gone down to a 5.5 at some books, or you can take the six. It's right around plus 105. I'm going to keep riding this trend. I think these two teams are showing us the offense that is needed to continue to hit the over. I always say that when Tampa usually wins a game, the score tends to go under just because they're a team that when they do go up, they tend to play more defensively and they're okay with, finishing a game 2-0 or 3-0. Whereas the Avalanche, if they're up, they're just going to keep rubbing in the score, which we saw in game one and two. So I think that the Avalanche will have a better effort tonight. The biggest key takeaway trend that I was looking at as well is Vasilevsky has been phenomenal from a 5-on-5 standpoint at home. The last time he's let in a goal on a 5-on-5 was against Toronto, believe it or not, in game six. So every single goal he's let in at home ice has been on the power play. So you know that Tampa is looking at that and that they are going to want to tighten it up, stay out of the penalty box, have Corey Perry stop making stupid penalties.
Yeah.
But I think, the Avalanche are a team that we do see them bounce back after a loss, and they average about 3.5 goals after they do lose. We saw it when they did go down with St. Louis. They put up, I think, 6 goals in the first one and then 4 goals in the next one after a loss. So I do think that they will get it. We'll see more goals out of them, and then Tampa's going to continue to score as well tonight. So give me the over 6 or 5.5 as well.
Yeah, I love the over in this game. I really do think we are going to see Colorado just upset Tampa again and get them in that penalty box. Like you said, Corey Perry has to stop making these dumb penalties. I can't count on him not to make these penalties. So I could not go with the under here because I do see Colorado getting those power play opportunities. I think they come out hard and strong. Whoever takes this first period is going to be huge for the crowd and the momentum for both of these teams. I can't wait for this game to kick off. We have a question here. The Avs team total over 2.5. I love it. This is one that I have been riding. Of course, it didn't come in the last game. Are you going to be riding this one as well tonight?
Yeah, it's a little juice. So I would even take a look at that team total over 2.5 in regulation versus the full game. I think if the Avalanche are going to put up 3, it's most likely going to be in regulation and not overtime. You should be able to get a little better value on that 2.5 rather than laying the heavy juice on that 2.5. But I think that's a great look as well. I definitely need it to hit for my full game over too.
Yeah, the books have been getting us on these team totals. That juice has been climbing up. And so has the profitability on these props as well. I don't know if you've got any props that you were looking at tonight, but I do know that you can't really get the best value anymore on Colorado props, especially the goal scorers, the shots on goal. They're just juicing those up high. So another thing to think of when
I do think we should see a good game tonight out of McKinnon. He has not really had any sort of production in the first 3 games. He's been off the scorecard, and I think that him to score a goal tonight would be a decent look, or even just have over 1.5 total points. They need him to respond, and similar to, I think, against St. Louis, he was held scoreless up until game 4 or game 5, I'd have to remember. And he came out and had that hat trick. So yeah. I think, when it's kind of similar, when a player needs to step up, he's going to be the one from your team that needs to tonight. If Tampa wins, it's most likely because McKinnon was off the scorecard. But if the Avalanche are winning, he's most likely going to have at least a point or 2 on that too. So the over 1.5 points might be a decent look too.
Yeah, it's definitely a great way to go with that. I was talking to another guest yesterday, and it's true. The media has been chirping him, saying he's not getting anything done. And like you said, we saw this exact same thing play out with him getting that hat trick. It's going to be a beautiful game for him tonight. So you guys, if you're looking for him for points tonight, I was just looking up his over on points. Corey Perry's points are coming in at over 0.5 at plus 136, Melissa.
Wow.
That's interesting.
That's a good one as well. We've seen him being strong on the power play. That's kind of where he's been doing extremely well this playoffs. So again, him and Stamkos, when they respond, like we saw in game 3, it's lights out for Tampa.
Absolutely. It is. Now, Nathan McKinnon, I am not getting a good line, you guys, on his points here. You might be able to shop this, see what you can get. They're making me pay minus 250 for over 0.5 for his points.
What is
tonight.
Over 1.5?
I am not seeing it even being an option here. I'm getting even over 1. My book will not give me a number on Nathan McKinnon. They are expecting a big night out of him, you guys. So they definitely are. Maybe player goals would be a good way. Plus 164 for a goal for McKinnon tonight. Might be worth a sprinkle there.
Yeah, that's a good look too. I think that one should be good. He's got to respond based off of, he hasn't done much.
Absolutely.
You can't rely too much on everyone else. So I think he'll have a good game.
Plus 920. Over 2+ goals. I think that's worth a sprinkle.
A little fun sprinkle there.
Melissa, okay, so if Colorado wins tonight, you're leaning on Colorado. Game 5, do they hoist the cup at home?
I think they do, because I think Tampa has just been so strong at home, and they're so strong at responding to teams like we've seen all playoffs. This is the same situation against the Rangers. They were down 0-2 and they come back and win 4 games in a row, which we know in hockey is extremely difficult to do. They are the back-to-back champs for a reason. ultimately, you got to wonder if the fatigue is going to set in. They have played a significant more number of games than the Avalanche have, but they've shown that it hasn't really affected them just yet. And the series isn't over. If they get 2-2, then we have a full new series, and we might get to 7 here. But I do think if the Avalanche win tonight, we'll see them hoist the cup in Denver for Game 5.
Would definitely love to see that, Melissa. Where can everyone find you on social media?
Yeah, so you guys can find me on Twitter, mcunningham33. I'm very active during the NHL season. Once NHL season ends, I kind of take a little 2-month break though, but I'll be back again usually September, October. So yeah.
Well-deserved break, Melissa. You enjoy that, but we've got a couple more games at least under our belt before you get to have that time off. Thank you again for joining me here on the Joe Madden Sports Podcast.
Thank you for having me, Joe. It's always a pleasure talking hockey with you.
Absolutely. Enjoy this game tonight. Where are you watching it? Comfort of your couch?
Oh, yeah. I might actually go outside. My husband sometimes sets up the games for us if it's not too hot. It's like 99 degrees here today, but I'd like to go outside and watch it if I can. But the only problem with that is your feed is kind of behind because you got to stream the game.
Yeah.
And I'm one who, like, I'm in so many group chats where people will be like, oh, goal, and it's like 20 seconds ahead, and I'm like, I haven't even seen this yet. So I think in Canada you guys get the feed way ahead of us in the US. It's always so funny to see.
It actually does feel that way. So I've been on a couple of streams with people watching on the American, and I'm like, okay, I'll just be quiet.
Yeah, like be quiet till it happens, catches up.
Absolutely. Okay, Melissa, thank you. You have a wonderful day. Enjoy watching the game on your deck.
Thanks, guys. Take care. Bye.
Thank you.